Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 115 of the Rockies Now podcast, part of the Elevated Pulse Sports family of podcasts by the fans, for the fans, diehards only. I'm Chris. You've met me before. Sarah is with me tonight. Maybe Tom will hop on later. We don't know. It'll be a surprise. Maybe Victor Vodnik's blown save was just a little bit too depressing to not hop on to discuss that. But Sarah, how's it going?
Oh, well, I mean, it'd be a lot better if that hadn't happened earlier today. But other than that, pretty good.
Yeah.
How are you?
I am doing just fine, honestly. That did not knock me off of my my good feelings seat for too long. All right. I'm still generally happy with how things are going so far. Everything is going to plan. But otherwise, I'm doing all right. I'm good.
Good deal. Yeah, little disappointing, but I mean, look at our subjects for tonight. This has been a lot better than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you best believe, I mean, what are we now? 10-16 through the first 26 games of the season.
That's
is
not bad.
It's hard to argue with. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, thank you all to everyone who's going to listen to tonight's episode. As always, feel free to drop comments in the comments section and we will bring them up during the course of our discussion. But we're going to kick off today's episode like we usually do with our trivia question. Now, Tom is usually the one who's got a fun trivia question for us. He is not here. And so we used the assistance of artificial intelligence. And with that, I actually don't know the answer to this either, even though I've looked up this question. So Sarah and I both get to participate. And this is actually a pretty interesting question. Maybe it's easier than you and I both might think it is. But here's the trivia question for tonight. Which Colorado Rockies player holds the franchise record for highest career batting average in a minimum of 2,000 plate appearances with the team?
I mean, my first reaction or my gut instinct would be to say Todd Helton. Maybe no. Maybe yeah.
I don't know yet.
Is it Helton?
I would guess it's Todd Helton. That seems pretty straightforward. But if you had to guess two other players, who do you think it might be? Do you think Nolan might be on that list?
I could see Nolan. Who else?
Because it would have had to have been somebody who played, I mean,
for
every day for 5-6 seasons. Yeah. I like Nolan. Nolan's a good guess. I think, but I think you're probably right. It is Todd Helton. If I had to guess a secondary player, it would probably be Nolan, and no one else really comes to mind. Should we see the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look. This might be pretty straightforward. I asked it to give me a hard one, so if it ends up being Todd Helton, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. Give me the answer. Yeah, let's see. Thinking, preparing the answer. Oh, it's not Todd Helton.
Is it too low?
No, it's not too low either. I can't believe
Who is
this. Oh my goodness.
Now I'm going to kick myself. I can tell by the way you're reacting. Who is it?
Yeah. You want to take one more guess?
5 or 6 seasons. It's not Nolan either.
It's not Nolan. Nope. And I'm not necessarily sure if it was 5 or 6 seasons. That was just the criteria that I kind of placed my guess within. You want to know who it is?
Yeah.
It's Larry Walker.
Batting average, really?
Yeah.
See, it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I was like, oh, I don't remember his. Huh. Okay. Well, our other Hall of Famer, that makes sense.
Yeah, we were close. We were like, who else could it possibly be? I mean, there's that one Helton guy, right? But who else? Oh, maybe it's the other guy who has his number in the little gold circle at the stadium too. That guy.
That would have been a really good guess.
Man, I can't believe I didn't guess it. Yeah, it is Larry Walker, 334 batting average across a minimum of 2,000 plate appearances. So there you go. Yeah, Larry, it is. You could probably flame us in the comments if you really wanted to for not getting that. It's a slow Thursday. But yeah, solid. Solid. Larry Walker is the answer to that question. Okay, now it's time to get into the important stuff because the Rockies played the top two teams in the NL West over the last week. LA and San Diego, both of them came here. Both of them came to what we're hoping is going to be a dungeon for visiting teams over the course of this season, which is Coors Field. Historically, obviously, we should have an advantage here, but the last few seasons, we've just gotten absolutely rocked. So, I mean, it's good to see that the team is actually above 500 at home to start the season. But let's talk about the Rocks Dodgers series. Obviously, it was a split. You love to see it against obviously what people consider to be the premier team in baseball right now. That payroll definitely suggests so. What were your thoughts about this series against the Dodgers last weekend?
You know what? I was really happy with a lot of what I saw. Of course, the games that the bookend games were not pretty, but really you saw a lot of fight. You saw some good at bats. You saw a lot of what everybody has been saying that this team is going to do, and just to come in and handle the Dodgers the way that they did in those two middle games was really, really. I don't want to say inspiring, but it was good to see it. I mean, it gives you a little bit of hope that this season is going to be something better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd kind of been riding the Rockies to nearly 70 wins train for a while now, so I'm loving every second of this.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I see a lot of the. I have to kind of restrain myself on X a lot because I'm like, these people are like, they're going to lose 120 games again. And I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Everything's fine. Like, this is so much better than what we've had for the last couple of seasons. Like, this is completely different. And what's crazy to me is the guys that are still on the team that you expected to come forward and to be the leaders are not necessarily playing that role. It's the new guys. You've got your Troy Johnston. Troy Johnston is phenomenal. I have been so impressed with him, which I had said from the time you did the interview with him that he's exactly Warren's style. That is the guy. Like that's going to be Warren's guy, and he has been that. He's been everything that he said he was going to be. And I mean, Jake has not been hitting, but if you get him on base, you're getting some bags there. And TJ, come on. That's been such a step up. And I hate to say that because everybody knows how much I loved Michael Tolia, but TJ Rumfield, I mean, that's so far from where we were last year at first base. So, and even Edouard Julien has been just great in that leadoff spot. So it's been really cool to see the guys that you didn't think were going to be, you're seeing Doyle sitting more, you're seeing Tovar sitting more, Beck, who is finally starting to wake up at the plate. It's been really cool to see all the new guys come in and be the ones that are doing this.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely did need it. I mean, you could also say the exact opposite, right? About the fact that the homegrown guys have been the ones sitting on the season.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were supposed to be a little bit better than what we've seen so far out of the gate. I mean, especially with Brenton Doyle. Like, my goodness, man. Of all the people I expected to start as poorly as he has, especially offensively, I would not have put him at the top of that list. I just would not have.
No, that's been the biggest shock to me is Brenton Doyle just not doing much. Because during spring training, I was over here going, comeback player of the year. Let's see it. Let's get this going. It's going to happen. And so far, it has not. Now, we are still very early. It's 26 games in. We got a lot of baseball left to play. I feel like he's going to make those moves, but right now we're not seeing it yet. So a little bit of disappointment from the homegrown guys, but it's really exciting to see the new guys doing what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, the new guys definitely have had to carry, at least offensively, besides Mickey Moniak and Hunter Goodman. Hunter has kind of picked it up a lot over the last few games. Mickey is just overall on another planet right now. I mean, when I said he was the Rockies' Shohei Ohtani equivalent this offseason, I didn't actually think he would start the season off like hitting as well as he's hitting. So that's pretty insane. Good for Mickey. He's putting on that purple jacket a lot. But Yeah, I mean, Doyle, it's it's always kind of just depressing when guys are just messing around with their technique so much because it just shows how out of sync and out of rhythm they really truly are. And I mean, I just think back to his 2023 season, the last season he was actually, or maybe it was 2024, right? The last season he was truly good, and it's like his stance was completely different than it is now. He looked like an athlete up in the box. He had an open stance. The bat was really kind of up back behind his head. It just looked cool and it produced results. And now, I mean, it's just a completely different stance. And so I'm not really sure why guys do that, like have success and then just change a ton of stuff with their technique. But hopefully Brett Pill can help him figure it out because it is just not looking pretty for him right now. I mean, Tovar's kind of been in a similar boat messing around with the technique up at the plate, but I mean, he's just swinging at everything. Like you could throw him a golf ball and he'd probably try to swing at it, even if it was like 2 feet off or 2 inches off the ground. It's like over 60% swing percentage is insane recently.
He looks at the plate to me, and I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat for this. To me, he looks as uncomfortable at the plate this season as Tolia did last season. Like just swinging, just up there trying to make something work. And I'm sorry, but I need them to revoke his challenge privileges for a little while because he's not getting any of them. Like it's just I don't know what happened between the WBC and the start of the season, but he just looks completely lost. And I hate that because we need that glove out there. Like and even that's been surprising too, is some of the errors that he's made, just little things that you never have seen him do before. And so I don't know what's going on with Tovar right now, but it's been really weird to watch.
Yeah, it's just really strange. Of all the people you would have expected that from, he's also probably towards the bottom of that list. It's like he's a good hitter. And I mean, for a guy who's still kind of young, right, in his third or fourth season, you can understand the fact that he's probably like, all right, I put in some work now. I really do want to just go up there and show that I'm a good hitter. But I mean, they said something on the broadcast today that was pretty interesting. Usually when you're in a good place up at the plate, you're really not swinging at a lot of pitches. You're just being selective. You're making the pitcher come to you in tough counts. I actually have a thought about that. I might get to that a little bit later on. But I mean, ultimately, you're looking for your pitch. And if you get your pitch, you're going to smack it somewhere. You're not just trying to hit everything, although that's kind of tempting, right? Because good hitters can typically hit pitches that are thrown in any general, or at least many general parts of the strike zone. And so you can understand that battle, I guess, that he might be going through up there at the plate right now. But I mean, yeah, to the positives, though, because there are tons of them. Yeah, Troy Johnston. I mean, I mentioned it when I did the interview with him this offseason. I did note that he hits off speed and breaking balls better by batting average than he does fastballs. And you can kind of see why now in the first few games he's played. He's just really up there looking for anything that's not a fastball. Like he'll get a fastball on 3-1 and he'll just let it go by because he's just and it's like, dude, I mean, that's a very hittable pitch, but I mean, they're looking for breaking balls and off speed, but it's working. He's hitting about 300.
He's hitting everything. Yeah, it's like if Troy Johnston is up at the plate, you can almost guarantee he's getting on base somehow. Like it's just he's the guy that if you hear that music come on, you're just like, okay, here we go. Somebody's getting on right now. And he's just making things happen. And I love the energy that he's keeping going in that clubhouse. Like even during the games where things have not been so great, he is still fired up. He's still keeping the guys fired up. I love everything about Troy Johnston.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, something similar with TJ. TJ's taking good at bats. He's kind of starting to experience what a lot of rookies experience is when you start to hit the fastball well, you get a whole lot less fastball. And so he's making a lot of adjustments recently to actually put himself in positions to hit some of those breaking pitches that he's seeing a lot more of in pretty much every count now. And so, I mean, you're seeing a little bit less of those soft rollovers to first base that he was consistently hitting for like a week or so there. And he's starting to really figure out, he's obviously still putting together good at bats, but now he's starting to figure out okay, how are pitchers pitching me, and how can I prepare for that so I'm not up there making soft contact, even though I'm not striking out. So it's good to see he's also adjusting well. As far as the series itself against the Dodgers, I mean, yeah, we had the split. The Friday night game was kind of a weird one, right? It was a little bit cold. Yeah, I mean, we'll just give that as the excuse there. They lost 7-1. That was a Quintana start, was it? Was that the Quintana started? Okay. What do we think of him so far? I mean, he's kind of been hurt. He's made 3 or 4 starts now, maybe so far. I mean, what are we thinking of him?
It seems very, and I'm wondering if there's not some lingering issues from the injury there right off the bat. It's very uncharacteristic. He doesn't usually walk people like he has been. And so to see that has been a little bit, it's a little cause for concern because we're not seeing the pitcher that he normally is. So there's something he's got to figure out there. It's just, I don't really know what to say about what's happening with him. Like I would almost rather they do something different with him for a little while and keep rolling with what they're doing with Chase, because that's working very well.
Yeah, I know it's kind of unfortunate, but I mean his velo is just so low that if he's not hitting his spots, he's just putting himself in a position to be batting practice pretty much every time he goes out there. And that's kind of what you saw on Friday evening. I think he gave up the back-to-back home runs, just 2 pretty bad pitches. It was kind of depressing. I mean, here's the tough thing, right? Because you have guys like Gabriel Hughes and Sean Sullivan also kind of down there lingering in AAA. Obviously, you have Chase Dollander too. Kyle's on the IL, which is also unfortunate. It'll be interesting to see what this rotation looks like around July, maybe August-ish. Because, I mean, if Quintana can't get through even 5 innings, like on every 3rd or 4th start even, it's like, does he even have trade value? Probably not at 37 years old. And so he's kind of maybe a DFA candidate coming maybe July, August, especially if Sullivan continues to pitch well in AAA like he has, especially if Gabe continues to kind of improve. And I know his ERA right now isn't incredible, but he's had some pretty high strikeout games. And so he's kind of flashed that first round pick potential. It'll be interesting to see how the rotation looks. But yeah, the early returns on Quintana, not so great. Not the greatest.
Not lovely.
No, not at all. I mean, and then, all right, we had Saturday. Saturday was about the most solid all-around baseball game I guess you could have played, right? The final score was 4-3, which is a good baseball final score. And, they got the job done there. And then the next day they won in the opposite way. They put up tons of offense, especially after Dalton Rushing's whole comments on Saturday evening about it being a little bit fishy that major league hitters swing a lot at first pitches, especially one of the most aggressive MLB teams in the league.
I mean, that he completely showed his own ignorance or lack of preparation. But it would take anybody 5 seconds of reading a scouting report to see this team swings at the first pitch a lot. They're very aggressive at the plate. Everybody knows that. And then for him to say that, I think it kind of fired the guys up, and they were just like, okay, let's go show him something really fishy. And they were having fun with it, and I loved that. Rushing, by the way, for anybody that's wondering, got hit in the ribs today.
Oh, nice.
In San Francisco. So a lot of people didn't seem to mind that too much. I'm not going to say anything about it because that's bad karma and I don't want to do that. But but yeah, rushing did get plunked today. But they really, I love that they're letting what other teams are saying about them motivate them. And even Dave Roberts was telling the television crew, this is a different team. So when Dave Roberts is saying this is not what we thought we were going to see, that tells you right there that this team is doing so much more than what people want to give them credit for. The record isn't showing it yet, but to come out against the Dodgers and even have them going, wait a minute, this is not, we thought this was going to be easy, and then they split the series. That's I loved everything I saw. I mean, obviously that last game, I did not love that, but still overall, like, and all this, like the bullpen. Oh my gosh, the bullpen has just been fantastic, and it's great to see all these different things coming together. I know the bullpen scared a lot of people in spring training, but here they are. Like we all said, don't take spring training too seriously. They've been absolute lights out outside of today. So it's been really great to see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's phenomenal. I mean, we talked about it this offseason. I think that was the episode that Tom and I did the pitchers preview by ourselves. And look, I was pretty clear about it. I think this is a top 15 bullpen in the MLB. And so far, they've been a top 10 bullpen. Hopefully, that continues to hold up. It's not good that Victor Vodnik is kind of still struggling to pitch through the ninth or late innings in general cleanly. And so, I mean, that is what it is. But I mean, overall, you can't complain about having a top 10 bullpen to start the season, especially considering the fact that this is actually one of the hardest parts of your entire schedule this season. I mean, like, kind of give them credit for that too. I mean, they're 10-16, which is better than they were last season to start the season when they had an almost equally tough start to the season. But they're 10-16, and the easiest part of their schedule or easier parts of the schedule haven't even come around yet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really not much to be upset about here if you're a Rockies fan. I mean, yeah, the record is not the greatest, relatively speaking, but it's better than last year. And you haven't gotten to the games that you're expected to have a better opportunity to win. There's just a lot to like about that reality as well. And so lots of reasons to be very optimistic. We saw that again this weekend. I was going to mention the 9-6 game too. Excuse me. That 9-6 game on Sunday, I mean, they got after Sasaki, they got after Trinan, and they got after Diaz. And so, I mean, those are some pretty good pitchers. Historically, I know that Roki Sasaki's not having a great start back in the rotation this year, but I mean, Edwin Diaz got the bag this offseason, and you chased him in his first outing at Coors Field in a while. So,
and then he went on the IL.
Yeah, you put him single-handedly on the IL. There you go. that was us. We'll take credit for that. Yeah, and I mean, especially considering in this game, we were losing 3-0 at one point. We won 9-6. So it's like really solid stuff from the guys on Sunday as well. So they won the sort of normal baseball game on Saturday evening, and then they came back Sunday and put up a 15-hit, 9-run outing against the best team in baseball. Then you had the Monday game. I don't know what you thought about the Monday game, but here's kind of my general take on it. We got off to the quick start there in the first. It was 1-0. We had a runner at third and one out, and Tyler Freeman coming to the dish. And I was like, okay, we've got all the momentum right now. This is about to be 2-0. You're about to have a really solid start to this game. Then he had to come out spontaneously, randomly with that illness. And it just felt like all the momentum at that point just went right out the window. So, yeah, I don't know. What did you think about that game? Obviously, the most depressing loss, maybe besides today's loss this week.
Yeah, I think you saw the excitement just right off the bat. And then it was like, when Tyler came out of the game, it's like the energy just got sucked out of the team for some reason. And I don't know if it was, being worried because they had no idea what was wrong with him or what was going on. But it doesn't seem like that should have been as much of a factor as it felt like it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, actually, sorry. The Monday game was the Quintana start.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Was it Lorenzen? Was it? No. Was it Lorenzen?
Lorenzen started Sunday. Who started on Friday evening? Oh my gosh, Sugano. It was Sugano.
Oh, yeah.
It was the worst start of the season and gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. Yeah, that was forgettable. Wow.
That's why we couldn't think of who it was.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I guess we've already talked about Quintana then. This was the Quintana game. And then Tanner Gordon came in relief and did not have an outing reminiscent of his outing against the Astros. Unfortunately, earlier in the week, 6 runs in 4 innings. So, and see, that's the thing, right? It's going to be, obviously it's harder to pitch at Coors Field, but they made mention during his relief outing against the Astros that you could noticeably tell that his fastball had a lot more carry on it. And so I'm sure coming back to Coors Field, that's something he was missing just a little bit of. Also coming to pitch at Coors Field for the first time this season. I mean, I know he's pitched at Albuquerque this season, but still, it's an adjustment you have to make. And even pitchers who have pitched here before have to get used to that adjustment at the beginning of every season, because it's just so much different going on the road, having more carry, having a better ability to even grip the baseball than it is to come back here to Coors Field and be like, wait a second, those pitches aren't moving the same way. Wait a second, I can't grip the ball the same way. Wait a second, I'm playing the Dodgers. All this stuff. And so it's just interesting. I don't know. Maybe the fact that he was also coming in long relief had something to do with it. That's not a role he's familiar with, at least recently. That's a question I have for you, actually. What do you kind of think of this whole idea that we are seeing kind of play out so far, which is that obviously guys like Dolander have been the guinea pigs in this experiment so far. But what do you think of calling up some of these starters in AAA to be long relievers at the major league level? First it was Beozo, now it's Tanner Gordon. Do you like that idea?
This is something that we've talked about a lot before the season got started, was what are they going to do with these guys? And is this a role that they're going to fill with some of these dudes? I don't hate it, but they did make mention on the broadcast. It was something that had kind of been in my mind a little bit. Tanner Gordon is not used to coming into an inning with traffic and with all this other stuff going on. He's used to a clean start when he's coming in. So I think that might have played into this a little bit, is just that it's not something, and it's really not something he's ever done until now. And so there's that playing into it. As you said, it's the first time he's been at Coors Field. So I think a lot of the little factors that people don't really take into account when you're going from a starting position to a relieving position, it's a completely different scenario and mindset that you have to have coming into that. And I don't hate it, because obviously Beozo did great the first time around. Second time around, it didn't work out so well for him. And of course, with Chase, that game plan is obviously working very well. That's the one thing that I've wondered about this, and I was actually going to ask you about it too, was, do you feel like there's a chance that we're going to have a little bit more of a blown out bullpen sooner by running these long relief innings rather than because you've got guys like Agnos coming out and throwing 3 innings. Senza obviously is comfortable in that role. He's been just absolute nails. But what are your thoughts on how the bullpen is going to withstand being used like this?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. It feels like so far they've made Jaden Hill a 2 or so inning reliever. They've made Zach Agnos a 3 or so inning reliever, which is very interesting. They've made Mejia often a 2 inning kind of guy out of the bullpen. Obviously you mentioned the former starters obviously are used to pitching multiple innings, but for the other guys, I'm not necessarily sure I like it for all of them. I think they're not necessarily used to it. It's a way to get innings eaten, especially considering you haven't really gotten much depth from many guys in your rotation outside of Sugano consistently. And so it's almost like they don't really have a choice. You can't really throw Senzatella every evening. You can't throw Dolander every evening, especially since you're trying to build him up to be a major league starter at some point, maybe even towards the end of this season. I really don't think Mejia should be a multi-inning guy. I think he'll probably get burned out if you're using him for 2 or so innings, kind of like they've been doing recently. He's not a 2 or so inning guy. He's really just a 1 inning guy. He's like Vodnik. Jaden Hill, I think Jaden Hill will be fine in that type of role, honestly. Again, I think he's probably more so a guy who pitches an inning, maybe an inning and a third if you want to bring him in to get the last out of a particular inning. But overall, I'm not a fan of it for some of the guys who are used to being short relievers. I have no issue with the long relievers pitching, obviously, multiple innings, because I think that's a good role for them. But yeah, I think you might risk burning out some of these younger guys by the middle of the summer, especially since, I mean, I get that they worked them into this and they prepared them for this during spring training with the way they did all their build-up processes and stuff. But I mean, still, this is not something that these guys have done like over the last few seasons. And so I'm just not necessarily sure about that for most of the guys who aren't used to it.
See, that's kind of my thought process too, because the only guy you've really had that you've worked multiple innings historically has been Jimmy Herget, and now he's being kind of moved to that opener spot for Chase, which he's done great starting and everything. But it feels like maybe if you have another guy that you know is just nails for one inning, but not really great at stretching into multiple, that maybe that could be a role for them if you need Jimmy in those longer situations a little bit more often. Because I kind of feel like, because Warren said after Jimmy started for Chase the other night that, well, yeah, Jimmy's available tomorrow. Well, now Jimmy's on the paternity list, but congratulations, Jimmy, by the way. Um, but still, like, it's now you don't have him for a couple of days. But these other guys, like, I just don't. Yeah, they've worked them into that a little bit, but I just don't know how long term throughout the season that's gonna. I don't feel like that plays out well for 162 games. I mean, ultimately, you're hoping that this rotation is going to start to give you more depth. You want these guys getting 6 innings at least so that you have more room, which for guys like Halverson, who is up right now, he will probably go. Well, I don't know. He might not go back down. I guess depending on how he does versus how everybody else is performing. But I don't see him as more than a 1 inning guy either.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's not. He's another guy who just has to come in and pitch 1 inning. All right. Well, let's just take a look at this bullpen right now, and let's see who we think is probably best pitching just 1 inning and who's probably not. Okay, so Zach Agnos, I think I'd say I like Zach pitching no more than 2 innings. Would you agree with that? Yeah. All right. Zach is a 2 or so inning guy. Something similar with Bernardino. I like Bernardino in no more than 2 innings. Would you agree with that too?
Definitely not more than 2 innings, because that's that second night of the first homestand against Philadelphia. He opened for Chase, and I mean Jimmy ended up having to come in the second to finish that out. And that's kind of wasting Jimmy's arm there. I mean, he got him out of it, which obviously that's what he's there to do. But I feel like you kind of blow that arm that you could probably have used in a later scenario, but Bernardino couldn't make it through 2 innings. So definitely not more than that. Maybe a guy that you bring in, get the last out in the previous inning and then have him go one more. I don't like him any longer of a stretch than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Chase, obviously multiple innings. I think they should just start him during this period of time. I'm not a huge fan of the opener idea. Yeah, I get that they don't want him to face the top of the lineup theoretically a third time, but it's like, you really, especially with the way he's pitched so far, it's like, is there really a purpose for burning a reliever in the first inning if you could just throw him out there and let him crush, for 5 or 6 innings just out of the gate, and then use that reliever like a Jimmy Herget after later in games? I think that makes a little bit more sense right now. But as far as it's concerned that he's in the bullpen, I think I don't have an issue, obviously, with him going multiple innings, 5, 6, maybe 7. I'm sure you agree with that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tanner's up right now as a reliever. I mean, he's up to be a long reliever, so he's supposed to be up here to throw 2 to 4 innings whenever he gets thrown in there. So, I mean, I'm sure you're probably with me there too, that it's unfortunate that he's in a position that he's not used to, but he's a starter, so there's no reason he shouldn't.
I think if you can put Tanner in a position where you're doing something where you at least maybe you're only going to get 3 out of your starter for whatever reason, they have a bad first inning, something like that. If you can get them out of the inning and give Tanner a clean slate to work with coming into the next one, then I think you've got Tanner 2 to 4 innings pretty easily, maybe even a fifth if it's something like that. but yeah, he's kind of in a bad spot where he's going to have to learn to make a lot of adjustments on the fly to make this work for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really kind of strange. I think you'd probably be best off sending him back down when Kyle gets healthy and then just keeping Halverson. I think that would make too much sense. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Kyle did throw live BP yesterday, I think. So good sign there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably coming up on his activation date sometime soon, right? Maybe within the next few days.
Yeah, shouldn't be more than a week, I would think. And we'll have him back, assuming everything's going well with the shoulder.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully we can get him out there. He pitched really well his first few outings to start the season. So we would definitely take that right now. As far as other relievers are concerned, obviously we talked about Halverson. He's a 1 inning guy for sure. He just has to be. You're not going to throw Halverson for 30, 45 pitches over two and a third innings. Not going to do it. Yeah. Please don't do it. Jaden Hill, 2 innings. I'd prefer him to be an inning in the third kind of guy, but I guess it just depends on the start. He's probably the reliever I'm okay with, who is best in a short-term situation, but who I'd be okay with pitching 2 or so innings. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think he's got the stuff to be able to work out of sticky situation if he gets into one, and he can handle a few more pitches than some of these other guys could. Yeah, I think him and Bernardino in similar roles, where if you need them to get that last out in an inning, they're your guy, and then run him out there for the next one. I could see him stretching too, but there's a lot of these guys. Most of these guys, I just don't really like the idea of them going more than 2 innings.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm right there with you. The next guy on this list is Juan Mejia. Obviously, we talked about him too. 1 inning for Juan. Please just let him go in, focus on getting 15 to 20 pitches, and get through an inning. There's no reason to burn him. I mean, it kind of ended up paying not so many dividends today, right? He threw how many innings? An inning in the third, an inning in 2/3, and gave up a run, which kind of ended up being critical in a 10-day
big deal.
Yeah. So yeah, no multiple innings for Juan, right?
Yeah.
That's that. Senzatella, right? We're fine with that. He's been so good.
This is a totally different guy. Like, I don't even know who this is.
Yep. I mean, I saw that he was working on a sinker this spring and that maybe we should give him a chance, but I did not expect him to become a world beater like he is right now. My goodness, dude. Insane. They just completely rebuilt Antonio Senzatella, and a ton. If you go take a look at his baseball savant, he's picked up 100 plus RPM on his fastball, which is insane.
Yeah, it's been so good to see, and it's what we all wanted to see for him, because I mean everybody went from ready to fire him into the sun to bullying the MLB social media into correcting a post about Ohtani because they said he was the only pitcher that hadn't allowed a run. It's like, no. We got a guy too. You better fix that.
The Colorado Rockies are up. Hear it here first, Yeah. That's so great. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The velo is up too. He's throwing a lot of fastballs. That's kind of, I don't know if you've kind of sneakily noticed this, but the guys who are throwing more pitch types mostly are the guys who throw significantly softer, which is pretty much just the starting rotation, right? It's not just that starters have more pitches usually in their repertoire in general, but they all throw softer. Chase, for example, is a guy who is a starting pitcher, but who is in the bullpen right now. And most of his pitches are still fastballs, but he's throwing more four seams and sinkers now this season too. Didn't throw the sinker nearly as much as he should have last season. He's throwing that more. He's got that sort of cutter slider that he's throwing more too. Something similar with Antonio Senzatella. I think his top 3 pitches that he's used so far this season are his four seam, sinker, and cutter. So they really do like the big velo guys throwing fastball shapes a lot. And I mean, that makes sense, right? That's an advantage of pitching at altitude. You get about a mile per hour extra of velocity because of the lower air resistance. So it's good to see that that's kind of a strategy that they're messing around with too. Yeah, it's great. And then I guess the last reliever we hadn't talked about is Victor Vodnik.
Do we want to talk about him today?
We'll talk about him a little bit more in a second. But yeah, he's obviously a one-inning guy. I know they insist that there's no official closer on this team. He's pretty much the closer for this team. He doesn't get put in before the 8th inning with 2 outs. So, I mean, I get what Warren is saying there when he's like, we don't have a closer. Anyone can throw in any inning. It's like, yeah, except for Vodnik. Vodnik will come in at the 8th or 9th inning.
That's your late inning guy. And he has struggled. But up until today, really, when he's had guys on base, he's been able to work out of it. He's using that heat, and he's been able to get out of jams. And today, and that kind of goes back to he needs to be a one-inning guy because he gets that last out in the 8th. Everybody's excited, everybody's pumped up, and then he comes out and immediately walk, hit, homer. Like, what? You can't let that happen. And I don't know why his slider was not working today at all. Every time he threw the slider, it was just ending up, it's just kind of floating in there, and they were eating it up. And so that's, and that's not necessarily going to be an every time thing for him. That's a pitch that usually works for him. What happened to it today? No idea. I didn't see I don't think they talked to him post game, so I didn't see anything that he might have had to say about it. But even Mickey, they did talk to Mickey, and he was like, you know what? He had a tough day. I still have all the confidence in the world in that guy. Because you have seen him work out of a lot of, you'd like to see him not have to work out of those situations. But when he has run into some traffic, he's, for the most part, been able to get out of it and has been pretty solid. It just today did not go well.
No, yeah, that's to put it lightly. 0.2 innings, 5 earned runs. Did not go well. There's a comment in the comments section by Quintuple NIE triple S. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's the username. And I'm not going to post this on the screen right now because this is pretty much what it says. Vodnik is so bleeping bleep. Get him out of there. That is the general sentiment about Victor Vodnik today in Colorado Rockies land, unfortunately. But I mean, okay, here's the thing. Here's a fun question for you. Do you think Vodnik is the closer of this team, ultimately speaking? Like, if the Colorado Rockies were to become playoff contenders by 2028, like I've predicted since 2024, do you like Victor in that closer role? This offseason, when we did our pitchers preview, I was pro Vodnik in the closer's role because of what he did last season. But I did know there's a very unfortunate aspect of his play style and his pitching style that just doesn't really fit the closer mold. And it's the fact that he simply does not get strikeouts. He's not a strikeout guy, even though he throws hard, which is weird. So do you think that Victor is the closer of this team, or do you think that someone like a Seth Halverson could potentially overtake him at some point between now and hopeful 2028 postseason?
I was right there with you before the season. If you remember, I was all about it. Vodnik's got to be your guy because Halverson is still a little wild. He's been great in Albuquerque so far, and I've been paying a lot more attention to Albuquerque just early on this season. Usually I would just kind of drift in and out and say, okay, who do we got down there? What are they doing? I've been paying a lot more attention, mostly because I've been waiting to see Zach Veen start going off because I know it's coming. But he's been really solid down there, and I've seen a lot more control and a lot more command out of him than what I've previously seen. And if he can keep on that track and continue to just master that 100+ miles an hour that he's throwing, because he's throwing gas, but you never know where it's going to go. Like some nights it's just the craziest pitch you've ever seen and it's a strike and you just have to watch it go by. But other nights you don't know. I mean, it might come right down the middle at you one time and then it might go over everybody's head the next. And so if he can control that and we can get away from that happening, I could see the potential for him to overtake that role very easily. Because
Yeah.
Victor, like he's not a strikeout guy. He'd be great, like seventh, eighth inning situation. I think would be a better fit for him if you can get that guy that's just gassing everybody and making them swing and just getting those Ks. Um, that would push him out of that role for sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think ultimately he is a really solid eighth inning guy. I mean, Juan Mejia right now is about the only other person you could really slot in and say, all right, I'd be kind of comfortable with him in the ninth inning. But I mean, he throws 2 pitches, maybe 3. I mean, I've seen some cutters show up in game, which is interesting. But yeah, right now it kind of just has to be Victor in the ninth inning. It just kind of has to be because, I mean, Halverson hasn't really established control yet, even though he can throw triple digits pretty effortlessly when he's on. But yeah, Vodnik right now is the ninth inning guy, has not had the greatest start to the season. He blew game 3 against Miami to start the season.
Yeah.
So there's that too. He's pretty much single-handedly lost 2 of the Rockies' 16 games so far this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's another comment from our buddy. Yeah, Vodnik does make the game close every time he pitches. 7 runs in his last 2 appearances in the ninth. Yeah, send him to Korea. Yeah, right.
I don't know if we need to go that far yet, but he does, you know, it has been a struggle for him. And with him really being the only guy you got, I'm wondering, I would love to know what the coaching staff is working with him on or what they're trying to make happen. Because you do see glimpses of it here and there. He was when the last game we went to, which was the Phillies, he was great. I think he did allow 1 runner, but I mean he's lights out for the most part. And so you see those glimpses of it, but then he comes in the next time and it's just like, what is happening here? Like you've got the velocity, you've got the stuff to be striking out more guys than what you are. So what is happening? Is it just location? Is it, what I want to know what they're working on with him to correct some of these issues that he's having. Because he's kind of always been like this. You're not ever really sure what you're going to get when Vodnik's coming into the game.
Yeah, here's the weird thing with him. I'm kind of looking at his baseball savant right now and some just differences between 2025 and 2026. Obviously in 2025, I mean, we kind of already touched on this. He's not a strikeout guy. He's walking a lot of guys in 2025 also, and he gives up a lot of hard hits. This season, he's actually not giving up a ton of hard hits, believe it or not. But again, the strikeout rate is just really low, and the walk rate is kind of up there too. But a very interesting thing so far, his second most used pitch in 2025 was his changeup. This year, it's the slider. And so I think you kind of touched on it earlier. His slider has not been good recently. His changeup was his best pitch last year. So I'm not really sure why he's not using it more. I mean, it's a 93 mile an hour pitch. So to be fair, 93 mile an hour changeup, you would like that to be a little bit softer, maybe about 7-8 miles an hour worth of velo off the fastball. But nonetheless, it was his best pitch last year. And so I'm not sure why he's not throwing it more as his secondary pitch this season. Also worth noting, his arm angle is about 6 degrees higher. And so, I mean, a little bit different, when you're talking about approach and attack angle to the plate. So I guess those are some interesting changes that we would notice here in taking a look at some of his numbers. And I mean, he's not getting as much drop on his changeup since moving his arm angle up. So maybe stuff is just technical, and they kind of accidentally worked themselves into a situation here with one of the Rockies' best relievers last season. But whatever the issues, clearly there's some technical stuff. Clearly there's just some strategic stuff. Hopefully he can get figured out, because he's the ninth inning guy for the foreseeable future, and this can't happen. Can't have a situation where your guy who comes in to lock down games is just unable to do so, especially considering the Rockies often don't find themselves in a position to put their closer in like this.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you've gotten to the ninth inning with a close, a good team. Please just shut down the game. And he's just a little bit too wild right now. He's not very trustworthy. But I guess we'll see.
That's interesting. The arm angle is interesting to me, because that makes a lot of sense with why his slider is playing the way that it is right now. It's like, if you were watching it today, like, you could see what the pitch was supposed to do and what it just was not. And that's definitely something that I'm curious about, is if that is really where that's coming from, is that higher arm angle.
Yeah. I mean, there's really not much else to say. It's got to be something technical. A part of it. It just you can't do that, But they'll figure it out. They usually do. At least this season, there's a lot of hope that they'll be able to make it. Need to. Yeah, for sure. And so, I mean, overall, if we were to talk about just some of the other stuff about the Padres series before we get to our predictions for the upcoming 2 series, game 1, you lost 1-0. Chase Dollander had an insane performance. 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, and you couldn't get him a single run. That was just a little bit depressing. I know Vasquez is good, but really?
Yeah, you don't normally, the Padres struck out 15 times in that game. You do not normally have your pitching staff rack up 15 strikeouts and lose the game. And for it to have been on a bases loaded walk, that is absolutely heartbreaking to see. To me, honestly, that game, seeing how amazing Chase was and everything else, that it hurt a little bit more than today did, just because how could you not give him anything at all? Because you had opportunity. You had some opportunity to make something happen, and it just never did. And then to turn around over the next 2 games and have the offense that they did, it's like, where was that when somebody who is very likely your future ace was just lights out and you couldn't give him any support at all? What happened?
Yeah. Well, it is obviously a little bit easier to face, who was it, Walker Buehler and Waldron, than it is to face Randy Vasquez. But still, not even one. Didn't they get at least a run off of Randy in San Diego? Let me go check. I'm pretty sure they did.
I think so, yeah.
In San Diego. So, I don't know what was going on, but that's just a bit ridiculous. Let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at something too, real quick, while you're looking at that. Let's see.
What? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was the Thursday evening game. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, they got exactly 1 run off of him in 5.2 innings. But
I'm trying to think. Was that Tuesday night game? Was that the first shutout
that the Rockies have been shut out this year?
Yeah.
You might actually be right about that. I think
what I was trying to look at, but it's not letting me go back far enough to see everything.
Yeah, you're right. They scored in every game up until that game on Tuesday evening. Yeah. How about that?
So you have been able to make something happen, no matter who you've faced, in 23 games to that point. And the one time your pitching staff is just racking them up, nothing. That's why that one hurts a little bit more, because they've been able to, even if it's been a blowout, they've been able to produce at least a run and get something on the board, and then to walk away from that game like that, it was just like that hurt to watch.
It did. Yeah, that was a bit painful. But it is what it is. I mean, then they came back out the next evening, won 8-3. So that was pretty convincing. You love to see it. How about Tomo Sugano? I know we talked about him briefly earlier in the bad start he had, the one bad start he's had this year. He's been great. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's one. I was a little bit nervous kind of looking at the numbers, but then they mentioned something on the broadcast today that really made me kind of think a little bit more about. I was probably a little premature in judging, what my thoughts of him were. Baltimore was a disaster last year. Like, there was so much happening, and it was kind of a mess. And Drew pointed that out. He's like, he was in a situation that just wasn't good all around, and things were kind of falling apart over there a little bit. And now he's in a new situation with a brand new coaching staff, and it's just so much of a different environment. But and you worried about like the home runs, but most of them had been solo shots, and you don't mind if you're going to give up a home run, that's what you want to give up. But he's controlled that too. And just overall, this is not the guy that I thought the Rockies were getting. And it's been really great to see. I mean, he's been the most consistent. Well, Kyle Freeland, but he's been injured. But Sugano has just been absolutely consistent in his performance, with the exception of the game against the Dodgers. It's been really kind of eye-opening to me to like stop and look around, and I've talked about this before, your clubhouse situation and what's happening behind the scenes can impact those players a lot. And we saw that with Colorado last year. It was chaos all year long. Nobody knew what was going to happen from one day to the next. And with Baltimore being a little bit similar in situation there, I can kind of see where this change of environment has been really good for him and given him a chance to actually do what he can do.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been phenomenal. I mean, and this is the one thing we did note too this offseason about Tomo. You look at the fact that he gave up a crud ton of home runs, but most of them, like 75% of them, were solo home runs. And solo home runs don't kill you. And I think that's exactly been the trend that we've seen so far this season too. I think the solid majority, if not maybe all of the home runs he's given up, have been solo shots. And so that's not an issue. I mean, it's just not. And then you couple in the fact that he just doesn't walk people. Then he gets the ball on the ground a good amount. It's like it's a great addition. It's a fantastic addition to the Rockies rotation. I really do hope they go and explore more of the Asian market when it comes to pitching, especially because I mean those guys, they have pitch arsenals that work here at Coors Field. They have that splitter, they have sinkers, they have just really good pitch mixes. And so I really do hope that that's something that the new front office does some more exploring over the next few years, because it's just totally worthwhile. I think that's an immediate takeaway we have with Sugano. Yeah. And Sugano's like in his late 30s too. Like, what if you were to go out and find some younger dudes from out there who have had some success? It's like tons of potential out there in the Asian market. So yeah, props to Tomo for his great start on, what was that, Wednesday evening? Yeah, Wednesday evening. Then he had today's game. I mean, it was unfortunate that Feltner had to leave with some sort of injury. Hopefully it's not terribly serious.
They said tricep tightness. And so you hope that it's just a muscular thing. But then again, when you're thinking about everything that tricep connects to, you're really hoping it's not, something more serious than that. But hopefully muscular issue and that's it. But we'll have to kind of see. I'm sure they'll probably have they'll have some testing done to see exactly what's happening there.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully it's not too serious, but maybe if it is more serious, no, that wouldn't be the case. They would probably just throw Tanner Gordon into the starting rotation or do something silly like an opener and then put Tanner Gordon in if he has to go on the IL. Yeah, I mean, because Kyle might be back at that point, maybe. some point. It wouldn't have to be too long that you'd have that sort of void in the rotation if they did have to place Feltner on the IL. But I guess we'll see how serious it is after they do all their evaluations. But aside from that, I mean, you got after Matt Waldron pretty solidly. I mean, I think the only other times Matt Waldron has pitched at Coors Field, the first time he did really amazingly, like 1 run in 5 or 6 innings. Second time, it was just an absolute disaster. He gave up like 7 runs in about 4 or 5 innings, I think. Then you had today, and you were not necessarily sure which Matt Waldron you were going to get at Coors Field, and you got the second version of Matt Waldron, thankfully. Mickey Moniak, home run. You got after him. And I really honestly thought that this was going to be a game we just handled pretty straightforwardly. And we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, this is true. Not in the way we hoped, but yeah. It's kind of unfortunate just that way. Here's someone we haven't really talked about yet. Willie Castro was put back in the cleanup spot for some reason today. I mean, and now I'm going to actually look up these splits while you tell us your thoughts on Willie Castro so far, because it's kind of interesting. But what do you think of Willie so far? Probably not getting the returns you expected so far. Yeah.
I'm really up and down on Willie, because he'll go through these little streaks where I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why? And then he'll come out for a couple games and he's just hitting everything. And he's making stuff happen. He's moving runners along. He's having good at bats. He's working counts. And then it goes back to, what are we doing again? And so I don't know. He hasn't been what I have hoped he was going to be so far, but at the same time, I am seeing moments here and there where I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. It's just, it's not consistent enough for me yet, which is kind of how I have felt, which, about several of these guys. And then here, these last few games, you'll see it. It just feels like it's been kind of streaky. Like you'll get some really good offense going, and then all of a sudden it just kind of dies down. And then here they come again, and they're making things happen. Like I want to see what they did these last 2 days carry over into New York and just keep pounding like they have been. But Willie has been one that I'm not sure how I feel yet. But at the same time, I also spent the first couple of weeks going, what are we doing with Julian? And now I'm like, yeah, keep him there. I love it. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Julian is really kind of making that second base position a little bit more competitive than we thought he would. I mean, all Eddie does really is hit the ball on the ground most of the time. But I mean, it's better than what Willie does most of the time. Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's the split that I was looking up. Okay, we say an awful lot about guys coming to Coors Field to play for this team and having their offensive numbers go up. But with Willie... This is kind of insane. Okay. Here's Willie's triple slash at home so far this season. He's hitting 400 at Coors Field with a 471 on base and a 1,000 OPS. Okay, that's Willie Castro at home. Willie Castro on the road in only 8 more plate appearances is batting 128 with a 190 on base and a 395 OPS.
So there's the streak that I just mentioned. So maybe we let Willie take a break when we're on the road and we only put him in the lineup when we're at home.
Willie is a world beater at Coors Field, and on the road, he's oh my God, atrocious. Dude, with like 2 times as many strikeouts too. 18 strikeouts away from home. 9 strikeouts at home with only 8 more at bats on the road. Oh my gosh. It's just so atrocious.
That's crazy. That's a wild. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. It's been so hit and miss with him. And I hadn't even stopped to think about where they were at when I'm seeing those streaks of what are we doing? We're on the road. Those are crazy. That's wild that it's that drastic.
Yeah, that's really kind of insane. That's massive home road splits. My goodness. So yeah, I mean, there you go. That's an interesting lineup consideration. I guess Schaefer could consider making. Just play Willie Moore at home since he's a world beater, and then on the road, you see more Eddie Julian. I mean, there's really not anyone else who plays second besides those two. So better hope you don't face too many lefties on a road trip. Speaking of road trips, I think that's a good transition into our final segment. Mets and Reds. We got the Mets and Reds this upcoming week. These are two very winnable series. Now, the first one maybe more so than the second one. The Reds are actually tied for first.
They're hot, yeah.
Super
They're hot right now.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. But first, you got to get through the Big Apple. Okay. The Mets snapped their 12-game losing streak. 12-game losing streak. What was it? Yesterday evening? I think it was.
Was it yesterday or was it today?
Today, I think it was yesterday. I think so. But yeah, you have a great chance to go into New York and take down a team that is just completely struggling. A team that's worse than you, who many people think should be the worst team in baseball by the end of the season. And so far has a few teams worse than them. What do we think about that series? Let's go take a look at the pitching matchups. It'd be kind of interesting to see who the Rockies are facing. Maybe
the Mets are actually tied with the Twins right now in the bottom of the 8th at 7-7.
Oh, yeah? Wow. Okay. Maybe they'll start a new losing streak tonight and we'll keep it going. Yeah. But, I mean, aside from that, what do you think?
Really, I'm not. If they don't win the series against the Mets, that will be very, very disappointing to me. That is a team that has historically been their own worst enemy, and they're showing it. I mean, you went from they ran Paul Skeens early on opening day, and now you're losing 12 in a row. You have a significantly worse record than the Rockies. Like what's happening in New York? But that has been a lot of people over the last couple of seasons. There's been a lot of talk about that's a very toxic environment and toxic clubhouse to be in. And if you don't have those guys, like, so when we played Team USA in spring training, that exhibition game, somebody said superheroes versus the power of friendship. There's something to be said for the power of friendship. If you've got guys that are really close knit and they're supporting each other and they're going to fight for each other versus guys that are not bonded and don't seem to have that cohesiveness, and that's a lot of what I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the Mets other than looking to see if they're doing bad or not, because as you know, as somebody that grew up a Braves fan, it's always you never want the Mets to do well, and they always kill themselves. So it's that it just doesn't seem like there's any kind of cohesiveness in that team. Like they're all just kind of doing whatever. And so I will be very disappointed if this is not a series that the Rockies win, if not sweep.
Yeah. So here's the pitching matchup for this series. All right, we got Lorenzen versus Peralta tomorrow evening. We have Quintana versus Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga has not been very good to start the season. That's Saturday evening. Then Sunday looks like we probably have a Dolander McLean matchup. How about that? Battle of the two young guns on Sunday afternoon. Nolan McLean has been really good. And so that'll be a tough game to win. I think the Rockies could maybe do enough to win Friday and Saturday, which would give them an opportunity to win the series. But I don't think they've historically done incredibly against Kodai Senga. So again, it's a series that you theoretically should win. I mean, Lindor is now on the IL. This is a team struggling in pretty much every way imaginable. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think they're going to sweep. I guess I can believe I'm not saying that. We're still the Colorado Rockies. But I do think it's possible to win the series. It should be very possible. Now, will the offense be able to be anywhere near as productive on the road as they have been at home? That's really just ultimately the question. The first road trip did not go well offensively at all. And we mentioned it too. We were like, that's the next biggest challenge for the team to start the season. First is for the pitchers coming to Coors Field for the first time. The second is when the hitters go on the road for the first time. The hitters going on the road did not bring very good returns. So we'll see how it goes this second time around. But I'll say that they find a way to get 2 of those games. I think they can do it. I think the Mets are just in a terrible spot. You got them in a really, really bad position. Best time possible to just go in there and steal a series. What do you think?
Yeah, they did. The Mets did just get Soto back, but Soto hasn't been, of course, when he does something, you see it because it's Juan Soto. But Soto hasn't been what he was there for a few years. To me, he just hasn't been what he used to be for these last couple of seasons. The first year in with the Mets, and now coming out the gate this year, of course, he did get hurt. But I don't see him being enough of a difference maker to cause any kind of issue. Now, how has Peralta been so far this season?
Peralta, I mean, I think he's 1-2 with an ERA around 4. But again, another guy who historically has been pretty good against the Rockies. I mean, he made his major league debut here however many years ago and pitched really well. So it's like you can only take those numbers so far because it's like, well, we're still the Colorado Rockies, and these guys historically just don't care. But they just don't think that we're going to put up a legitimate fight against them. But maybe we can change that narrative this time around.
Yeah, and I think coming out of this series the way that we are, even with the loss, there's so many positive things to take, like just the at bats that the guys are taking, the balls being put into play, just the style of play that has been happening with the offense for these last 2 days, especially, and even those 2 games that they did win against the Dodgers. I think there's a lot to take out of that. And if those guys can carry that out on the road and continue it, this should be a pretty easy series. Now, depending, like, that will be the other thing is how do they do against McLean? But I can definitely see a series win with the pitchers that they have going up against them. It's going to be, I don't know how Lorenzen has historically done at Citi Field, but I mean, he also seems to manage a little bit better on the road. He's still trying to figure things out at course to me, but I think I think we should be able to walk away with that series fairly easily as long as they continue just putting in place what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. Okay. Then we got the Red Series. So you're going over to Cincinnati. We get to face Chase Burns, Andrew Abbott, and Brandon Williamson. Okay, so those are the 3. Chase Burns has been really good. Okay, 2-1, 2.57 ERA, 1.07 WHIP. Wow. Then you got Andrew Abbott and Brandon Williamson. Both of them are kind of not off to great starts, although Andrew Abbott was really good last year. He's got both Williamson and Abbott have an ERA over 5. So, I mean, what do you think about this series? Again, it is a Reds team that is off to a solid start. 16-9, I believe, is their record. What do you think of this series?
This one's going to be a little bit tougher. I mean, I think it's going to depend on what you see out of Abbott, and especially in that game 2. If he has been struggling, then you hope that that's what you get. You hope he doesn't figure it out right before the Rockies get there. I don't know that I say that we're going to win that series, but I do think it'll be a really good matchup.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, here's the interesting thing about the Reds as I dig into the statistics a little bit more. They actually have the worst team batting average in all of baseball. Okay, 205. Their pitching staff, however, is top 10 in terms of overall ERA. So, interesting series. They play in what is conventionally known as a hitter's ballpark, Great American. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this series goes. I think this is going to be the tougher of these 2 series to predict. I'm gonna stay safe, and I'm gonna say the Rockies maybe win 1. I don't think the Rockies get swept like they did in San Diego. I don't think that happens. I think they probably get 1. I think they probably get to Brandon Williamson. Okay, I think that's probably the case. As far as Burns, I don't really see us doing very well against him. He's got some big stuff. And then Abbott kind of started off slow too, but our best hitters right now are all left-handed. And so that's just a tough situation. It's just a tough situation to find ourselves in. But I guess we'll see. So I have the Rockies winning 1 out of 2. How many games do you think they'll win in that series?
I think I would probably be right there with you, 1 out of 2. I just don't know that I see them. And with the Reds being not great at the plate, I think we'll probably see some pretty low-scoring games in this series. So I think they're going to be close games. We've had a lot of one-run differences so far. I think we'll probably see some of that in Cincinnati too.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with you. I guess Brendan Williamson is also a left-handed pitcher, so that'll be very interesting. But
great.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But okay, I have that being the case. So at the end of next week, the Rockies should be 2-4 or 3-3, probably. Yeah, I think. I would be comfortable with that over the next week. Any other closing thoughts before we wrap up today's episode?
I'm gonna hope that because Michael Toglia is playing very well in AAA for Cincinnati, so I am going to hope that Cincinnati's first baseman does not get hurt and Michael doesn't decide to get some revenge. Who knows what'll happen? But we'll see. Most likely not going to see him, but that would be my only little wild card in the whole thing is what will he do against his former team if he gets the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be quite the story, wouldn't it be, if he got called up for some reason, whatever. Pretty solid. Okay, I think my final take is they have been very solid to start the season, all things considered. I'm still very comfortable with my 67 to 70 win team prediction. And my goodness, Willie Castro, can you please just hit the ball on the road? That's all I'm asking for. You're going to have to do it, especially against out there.
I either need Warren to just sit him while they're gone or him to get it together. Because if Willie Castro is not producing at all during this road trip, our predictions for wins may be wildly off. Because you need the entire lineup to be. You can't put it on one guy. You can't. They've gotten so good at just passing the baton. If you've got one guy in there that's just not doing anything, that's going to disrupt everything that they're trying to do. So fingers crossed Willie can get it together on this road trip, and we'll just see what happens.
We will see what happens. Yep. Good enough take. So thank you for the fun pod tonight, Sarah. And thank y'all for to this episode of Rockies Now. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be right back with you next week, probably about this time. Yeah, Thursday, So until then, hopefully, if you're not subscribed already, you decide to subscribe. If you have been subscribed already, thank you for subscribing. And thank you for watching this episode and the rest of our content. Go follow us on Instagram if for some reason you don't already. #1 Rockies fan page on Instagram. Go give it a follow. But until next week, we hope you have a fantastic time watching the team, and go Rockies.